Hello, my beautiful people. Another week, another topic to talk about. I'm starting to get a hang of this, and while I'm not sure where this YouTube era thing will go, I'm glad that I took a chance to really talk about the topics that I love. Today, this episode is dedicated to all my sapphics out there. We will be talking about female idols and why the hell people hate them so much. The answer is internalized misogyny. That's it. That's the video.
What? No. We want more context.
Okay, fine. There has been quite a few videos on certain female idols and their villain eras as of late, particularly my favorite people, Jennie from Blackpink to Wonyoung from IVE. Well, the reasons as to why these girls are hated it's all very interesting, don't you guys think? This video is inspired by everglow-up, who did a video on the specifics of how the wonyoung hate trend began. She mentioned how cyclical the hate has been, jumping from idol to idol, to the point where it happens like clockwork. It really got me thinking, why? Why the hell are we so systematically hating on women so much in this genre, and where the hell did it come from? Before I dive in though, I do want to preface that the research behind this topic is a bit more slanted towards US-centric pop culture ideas, but in my defense, K-pop is a product of the US military-industrial complex, so I guess it's fair game. So in order for us to understand as to why we hate K-pop female idols, we have to look into how we see female idols in the first place. For the Americans watching this might look familiar. The year is 2007, and Blackberries and Ragers are all the rage. A certain female pop star is nearly always on the cover of a gossip magazine. She had just shaved her head and tried to break into a car using an umbrella. She had a very public and messy divorce and a questionable live performance at an award ceremony. Today, that kind of behavior would be concerning to see, and Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram would be probably flooded with supportive comments for the star. But back then, Britney Spears was seen as a laughingstock, someone who was a disgrace to young girls everywhere. It wasn't new that the public didn't like her overtly sexual videos or questioning her talent, but now that she has fallen from grace, it almost solidified the belief that her fame came from luck and nothing else. Of course, this conversation has shifted greatly since then, with Britney coming out with a rather abusive conservatorship from her father, and the public is a lot more nicer towards her now. However, we must also know that it took nearly 2 decades for this to happen. I think what's also really particularly interesting about Britney's case is that we can also take a look at the K-pop female idols of today and see the same exact cycle. While I cannot speak for first-generation idols because I didn't grow up in that era, I still remember the level of hate from second-gen to the current fourth-gen girls got. In this video, I'll be dissecting the types of girls that the public seems to hate. There might be a little bit of overlap, as not all girls fit neatly in these categories. Number 1. The fake pick-me popular girl, aka the Regina George. I remember how hated Girls' Generation was at their peak, particularly with Yuna. Back then, Yuna was everyone's ideal type, creating an influx of interest and also deep-seated jealousy. It's wild to think about it now because Yuna has become a lot more well-loved since then, but this kind of behavior is like a callback to 2013 when the world suddenly hated on Anne Hathaway for similar reasons. It wasn't anything either of them did really, but it was more so of the vibe or the feeling that they are ingenuine. There was nothing to support this theory though, but people still hated them anyways. A more contemporary example is Wonyoung from IVE. You literally cannot go one day without seeing a TikTok or an Instagram reel of the girl just existing and the comment section looking like it really did not pass the vibe check today. My favorite video of all time of her so far that pissed the public off is the one where she bites into the pizza in the most ridiculous way possible. Like, you go, girl. Go piss them off, girl.
Oh my gosh. Don't you know I'm a savage?
The second type is Ice Queens. Continue on the second generation train, we see people like FX's Crystal to former Girls' Generation Jessica, along with third gen girls like Blackpink's Jennie. What all these girls tend to have in common is the fact that they're universally hated for an extended period of time for being cold and distant. While male idols are praised for having RBF as being mysterious or whatever, these girls get shitted on for having attitude issues, particularly Jennie. Now, while the debate on whether or not she wants to still be an idol is up in the air, and frankly, should be none of our businesses, seeing the level of hate that Jennifer gets simply for existing is ridiculous. What makes it real baffling in the defense as to why these girls are hated is this age-old belief that women are supposed to be nice. But wait, Katie, didn't you say that nice girls also get shitted on? Exactly. They never win. Rain Fisher-Kwan from ID says it well. Whether it be in the public or within the sexual zeitgeist, the patriarchy urges us to believe that women can only be either Madonnas or whores. The dichotomy between good girls, virtuous, flawless, spiritually virginal, and fundamentally bad ones leaves no room for the necessary middle. Once a woman stops being a Madonna, she becomes a whore. Once she has proven the perfection the public expected of her, perfection never actually embodied or even attempted to claim is out of her reach, she becomes a monster. And the women like her are monsters by virtue of liking her, and so on and so forth. That's right, the patriarchy, aka the men who create this whole system, makes it hard for us to like women because we can't seem to exist in a spectrum. If female idols aren't saints, they're whores. If they're not whores, they're saints. Think of IU and how many people dogpiled on her during her chat share era with the songs 23 or Zezhe in particular. You guys can look it up. It takes me to the third type of woman that we hate, and this one's going to be a little bit of a trigger warning. The third is the feminist. I think this type of female idol is the one that pisses everyone off, but particularly setting off men to do very violent acts towards women. This is a very Korean specific type of hate that I'm still quite shocked to look into, but let's get into it. For those who don't know about the current political climate, South Korea is built on patriarchy, which really isn't new within Asian countries. What's interesting has been the rise of the Me Too movement inspired by the United States when disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein was accused and then convicted of essaying multiple women. This led to Korea having a little bit of a movement themselves, with women speaking up left and right about the industries that they work for. Gina, who is a solo artist, was one of them, citing the times when she was harassed on top of doing sex work in order to make it in the industry. Of course, it doesn't really go as well because Korean men, radicalized by conservative media and politicians, end up blaming women for everything that's wrong in Korea to the point where they have a massive counter-protest against feminist rallies. Now back to female idols. I remember when Irene from Red Velvet revealed that she read this Korean feminist book called Kim Chi-young, Born in 1982 by Cho Namju, only to be met by a lot of men's rights activists and incels actually burning her posters and her photo cards. It is so unnecessary given the fact that male idols have also read the book with actually no repercussions whatsoever. Irene has also dealt with the attitude controversy as well, which I honestly believe that it wouldn't have happened if she just wasn't already shitted on for reading that book. Nayeon from A-Pink has also suffered a very similar type of situation for having a phone case that says girls can do anything. And this was the It Girl for Psy's New Face video, and she was like the most famous member of A-Pink. Gayeon from Brown Eyed Girls also got the same flack too for having really risque concepts that are really deeply feminist. I still remember when Fuck You came out and it was very explicitly about an abusive relationship. The music video was also very explicitly about sexual violence, and a lot of people really did not dig it and thought it was too sexual or way too much risque for them. Also in this category is definitely the late Sully from FX as well as Kara's Guhara, who are notoriously very loud feminists before their respective passings. I still remember how much hate Sully would get every single day for merely existing. And she would talk about feminist books and theories that she learned on top of just being able to be free with her body, including wearing no bras, which to me, I believe, free the nipples. This came shortly after she broke up with her ex-boyfriend Choiza, where men started hating on her for being overtly too sexual or being with a guy who isn't even close to her, features and stuff. This is the same chick that men would love to death for being that really demure, quiet, pure little girl from FX. Guhara has also spoke about the time when she was alive, about the essay and abuse suffered by her ex, and she was very vocal about this. Many people were behind her, while also a lot of men were extremely against and didn't believe what she was saying. There was that time when she had that reputation where she like really got around and stuff, and which honestly kind of sounds pretty familiar, to be honest with you. And one time she was really fed up with those kinds of questions on a variety show, threw a water bottle across the table, and a bunch of people completely went off on her, thinking that she was a complete diva for doing that. Which is just so ridiculous, because why wouldn't you defend yourself after being called a whore for so many years? I cannot possibly understand why. I think what's really insidious about Hara and Sully is the fact that people see them as feminist icons now that they're no longer with us. Like, we couldn't have protected them more during that time. Literally, Sully was on some netizen comment show, which to this day, I cannot get why they didn't stop her from doing that show when we literally lost her that way. I mean, sure, laws were passed for molka or revenge porn, which honestly did not help, to be honest, and how comments are moderated now, but it took the deaths of very two beautiful and very intelligent women for people to get their act together. I don't find that fair. In fact, it is totally not fucking fair. Lastly, we get to the fourth category. The bad bitches. If you can't be good, might as well go all the way bad. I think this category maybe not seem like a category because we don't condone the glorification of murder, but we do believe in the empowerment of women. However, I've seen idols like Brown Eyed Girls Guyan, Sunmi, Hyuna, Hwasa, CL get hated on for being disruptive and challenging the ideas of sexuality. I also think of Hyorin, I also think of BB. There's so many different people in this genre that are just always breaking the boundaries of what a woman should be, whether it's their bodies, their skin tone, just the way how they look, just the way how they kind of give off. I just think about also the time when Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera used to do these kinds of sexy concepts. And these girls were really young when they started doing the sexy stuff, because being spiritually virginal is such a major thing. And there were rumors upon rumors about all of these idols having some sort of abortion or something like that. Actually, Hyuna, back when she was a trainee, was actually thought to be someone who slept around, had an abortion with one of the trainees, or was pregnant, or whatever the hell it was. She still gets those kinds of comments to this day as to people thinking that she ruined the careers of some people or have been pregnant in the past, which is just so ridiculous because none of that is true. Even if these things aren't true, why the hell should we care about what a female idol does? People argue until they're blue in the face about the children. But what about the children, they say? What happens if they're influenced to be bad? Well, I mean, I guess, but when was the last time we ever held a male idol to that standard? Many of our quote-unquote favorite awful men are still loved by fans to the point of delusion, but God forbid that Chang is edgy girling too hard and we just gotta have to completely cancel her for that. Are you fucking serious? Now, all of y'all are gonna say, Katie, does that mean that girls can't do anything wrong? No, I am not saying they can't be held accountable. My thing is, if we don't hold men accountable for even worse things, why can't we forgive female idols for being terrible too? People are always super baffled whenever a girl group disbands and can't seem to last anything more than 10 years without any type of lineup change or a dip in popularity. But no one wants to ask the real question. And that is why. It's because we see women as either or, as pure or godly, or revolting or undeserving of their success. We go through a phase with every single girl group and acting assistant, find out about them, get obsessed with them, and gas them up. A member or soloist says or does something questionable or someone makes up said questionable thing. There's a complete cancellation, leading to a dip in sales and popularity. Wash, rinse, and repeat. As writer Rain Fisher Kwan says again, it's about being womaned. We see this happen with CL. We see this with Sunmi, Hyuna. ITZY, Blackpink, Luna, Red Velvet, etc. The list literally goes on. And it's unsurprising to me every single time when I see the words, she fell off, or this music video is mid. What happened to them? They suck. This person is problematic. These girls never win in the eyes of the public. But boy groups get to experiment and be all levels of cringy without repercussions. I'm not saying I hate men. I literally stand the biggest boy group in the world. But I gotta call on the double standards here. Like, why can't women just mess up and be human? Boys can, but why can't women? That's the question I want to ask. So what are you asking us to do, Katie? Hate men? Burn a village? Do a real Gone Girl? No, I'm not asking you to do all of that. The last one is a crime, I'm pretty sure. What we can do is support female idols. Yes, it sounds easy, but it really is not that easy. We have to really support them and see them also as face value. If a female idol fucks up, let them fuck up and educate them instead of canceling them. If they release a bad song, support their next song or their next album. Continue to support them no matter what the situation is. Maybe they have a really bad comeback, so what? We'll just support them in the next one. If they're getting hate comments for looking a certain type of way, flood their socials with supporting messages. I've seen way too many people talk shit about Junghyun from Twice or Kayla from Pristin or recently Liz from IVE. We need to stop fat shaming and body shaming female idols and actually start supporting them for more than just their bodies. Buy and stream singles and albums, especially if they're not in the big three companies. And if you can, go to their concert and show how much you love them. I can't emphasize how much it is important to put money where your mouth is when it comes to groups. If you like that really niche girl group, go and freaking buy a bunch of their albums and give them out. You know, on Twitter, we all love putting fan counts. Put a fan count of like Billy underneath like a tweet about Joe Biden. Who even cares? It's to spread it out there, okay? I think what people don't understand is that you can't just kind of sort of like female idols when it's convenient for you. Just like how you can't ask others to support you conveniently. Let's all do our part and do our best to support genuinely female idols. Please leave a comment on who's your favorite female idol or group song of all time and why. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you next week with a whole new video.